Hi, my name is Sally Barnard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery, and with the help of my spirit guides, it's time to trust your intuition. Sit with me and call in live 888-994-4995 Studio A. And now onto the show. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I think we have for us today a really, really exciting show, so all stay tuned, and thank you so much again for listening. I really appreciate my viewers, and I know I have a few people, some of my friends are calling in, and we have a nice live show here. Well, it's live, but we have some nice guests here on the show, so I'm ready for any questions. 888-994-4995 Studio A. And I'm here to answer them, plus answer the people in the audience here some questions and answers from me, from Spirit. On with the show.
Well, Sally, before you get into that, why don't you tell people a little bit about your website and how they can call in? Because you told me that you might have had somebody who was going to call in.
Yeah, I do. And actually, because of the way that I do this through Spirit, I think I prepare myself. So I have my sidekick here, Dawn, to explain that to you. You don't mind, Dawn? Because I know that I kind of tune in while we're doing all this.
People can purchase your book, Call Me Zena, at Author House. They can also scan the QR code right here at the bottom of your screen and get all of that information, or also on Amazon.
Thank you.
And more to come. And your website, I know, with great clothing, great holiday gift options, long sleeves, all different things that people are looking for. Definitely check out your website as well.
Thank you.
artbysallybarnard.com. Great options.
And it probably seems strange, but the way that I do this, I do tune in. I don't do what a lot of people do when they meditate and they say, okay, I'm ready. But I think I'm learning exactly really what happens to me as I go along. But I know I have to have the question, and I can answer, and I don't kind of stall on the answer to any question that people ask me. If you're familiar with my show, you see how that works. So I just can't explain what I do. So here we go, question time.
We have Jasmine here. She's new to the studio, and she has some questions for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my stepmom, she was watching the show. Well, I told her that you were a spiritual person, and she's into that stuff, and she's, more, I don't know how to say, she's always doing research on that type of stuff.
Great. So I'd love to hear the question.
Her question was, can your soul accidentally leave your body, I say, before you die?
Well, there is actually, just so that there is no accident, but maybe the way that you said it may not have necessarily meant that. Yeah. But there is no accident. Your soul, it leaves your body when we pass, because we're here on a journey here with a body. But our soul is carried with us, but we're not just here. So there's many answers to that question. Mm. But my first reaction to, would it leave your body when you're in a body? Yeah. My answer would be no. But it doesn't mean that it isn't in other places. But that's a whole nother show. So part of us is here in a body, because that's where we are, but we're not here all the time. And when we go to sleep, and I often talk about astral traveling and projection here, we're out of our body, but we're still here. So that basically would be the answer. Thank you.
What was that question pertaining to? What did she think?
So she watched this movie. I don't know if anybody know about it. I can't remember the name right now, but it's about this little boy, and he astral projects into another realm, and he's stuck there.
Okay.
And that's the movie.
And I didn't know that, but I had mentioned the astral projection. But yes, we can, well, it wouldn't be, it's us as a person that we are in physicality here. Yeah. So can you get stuck in it's another dimension actually, but you're not really stuck. There's so many different answers to that, because the only time we basically leave where we are is when we pass to another direction, which we call dying. So then, yes, that's different, but we're here temporarily. And can you get, and I think someone had mentioned, I think you had mentioned that movie, Freddie, about where you can go into another dimension. And that's pretty interesting in a way, because you can go into another dimension, but your surroundings and everything, you know, would be, it could be higher or a lower dimension, depending, but you're still there, you're there, because we haven't left, let's say, the universe. It's only when you leave your body do you go to an astral plane. So
but I guess it's an interesting question, because when you're astral projecting in your body, like when you're in bed, right, and you're traveling, what's traveling? Is it your soul?
It's your, yes, it's your astral body. They call it an astral body because everybody goes to sleep. And we, you know, if you think that you're just laying there, you're not. Because there are many things that we can do it which we just don't remember because we've chosen not to, because it would just be too complicated. But all that I talk about, it's not an unusual occurrence. I'm just remembering, and I'm seeing a lot of these things because you know, many people, well, actually we're all psychic, we just don't know it. So the majority of people don't know that, go around not knowing that they can do these things. But if you look at it, and this is really interesting, and I do that many times now, that when we're sleeping, we're just laying there, but we're not, we're really busy. And if you think that as a human, we chose to have those hours because we spend a lot of our life sleeping. But during that period of time, we think we are sleeping, our body, our physical body is here, but we go to many different places, we just don't remember. So that was kind of it was opening a door to a lot of other questions.
Yeah.
Please thank your mother. Okay, by all means, let her please call in. I would love to hear from her. And I know we have a lot of questions, Freddie, that we never got to last week. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, so if I were to astral project myself, is there any risk?
No.
There's no risk?
No, there is no risk.
I should come back?
Yes, you absolutely, and many people actually ask that too. There is no risk because, you know, they say, but there's a cord, and if that breaks, nothing that we do, even when we pass, is of our choice. Actually, we choose when we want, we choose our life. So no, there's no risk.
That's good to know.
The only thing that people do ask me, and this possibly could happen, if you're astral projecting and you're out of your body, there are things that, like spirits that are playful or whatever, but as long as you don't have fear, and I have no fear with this, I think fear brings in fear. True. So certain things could happen that you may not want to happen, but I don't want to scare anybody about astral projection because I think we bring upon ourselves, just like we do here. We're concentrating on something, you can bring that into your life, good or bad. So I always talk about positivity because then you're going to bring in the positive things that you want. You can bring in the negative at the same time, but it's always good to state what you want. So if you want to astral project, say, I have no fear, and protect yourself. Always protect yourself the best way that there's a light or something around you. And
So Sally, a while back you were astral projecting on a frequent basis, and then there was a lull for quite a while, and now there seems to be a resurgence in your traveling. What do you attribute that to?
This I don't know. It's because I've started asking again. I mean, what happened to me in the very beginning when I first started to astral project all over the place, I didn't know what I was doing, so I didn't ask in my physicality here to start doing that because I wouldn't have known what to ask. But once I started to, I kind of knew that every few nights this is what would be happening to me. Then I went through a period. It doesn't mean that I wasn't doing it, as you know, because you saw me and I came back and I was paralyzed. But I wasn't aware so much that I was doing it, so I didn't actually see the places I was going to. I don't think I ever stopped. But recently I'm beginning to realize that, so I'm actually talking again to Aldo, my guide, and to my guides that I want to start going to different places again. And boy, did I have a surprise the other night, as you know.
Yes.
That was pretty weird.
Where'd you go?
Well, it wasn't it was a great, I went to a place where there was a lot of people. I saw my dog, which will lead into another thing. But what happened when I came back was so totally different to all the times that I had astral projected before. in fact, I thought that I was going to go, because the last words when all this happened, I heard someone say one. And I said, oh my gosh, I'm going to start going. But then I realized I had already come back. But the way and what happened, and any viewers, please, if you've ever had this experience, I would like to know more, because I also have questions, and I would like to ask people. I came back completely different. My whole bedroom was vibrating like crazy. Everything was shaking. I was spinning. Now, it's not scary. I don't want to scare people about this, but it was shaking, and I was going round and round and round, and I was laying sideways. And I sleep on my back, and I couldn't understand that. But when I eventually woke up, I was on my back. And I talk about being abducted, so it's not something my viewers haven't heard. So I was obviously abducted, and I was in something very narrow. But I never get scared, because it's okay with all these things that happen to me today. But for the first time in a long time, because I was, the way that I came back, I said, okay, Sally, you don't know it all. You can have this happen too, okay? So it scared me a little bit. But please, if anybody's on the border of wanting to do this or want to, it's a great experience. That's all I can say. And once you have that, and I've mentioned that to you, Steve, everybody that I have spoken to that have had this type of experience, something changes within you. Because, and I'm sure your mother, I'm not sure if she's astral projected, but you begin to see that there's something more here than just everything that we see, because you know what you've experienced. You've seen something. Today it's much more normal than it was maybe 20 years ago. But there's something inside of you knowing that this is not all that it is. There is so much more. You don't know my story, but I got a message to paint many years ago when I was doing this, and a lot of my art is around here. I couldn't paint. So I knew I had changed that way, but my whole being had changed. I know that just because what I see isn't all that you see. There's so much more. So.
When you astral project, is it always to another planet, or can it be anywhere?
It can be anywhere, Dawn, anywhere. And this particular one, where I obviously went a different way, because I came back, I thought I was in a train actually when I first, I could not get my bearings at all. I said, oh my God, I'm in a train, where am I? But I realized it was an astral projection coming back. But you can go anywhere. I was in some place where there was a lot of crowded people around me, and this is different to what I used to see on planets. But I had my dog with me. She was sitting on my lap the entire time that I was doing this, because I wanted to get away from the crowd, which you can relate to. So I went into something that looked like a closet, but she followed me. So I think it was Sabrina letting me know that my dog's name was Sabrina, letting me know that she was around me.
Interesting. You got questions?
I have a couple of things. Number one, do we live on multiple levels at the same time?
Yes, we absolutely do. We just don't know it, because it would be totally confusing. And Alda used to tell me there's another aspect of you, or your soul, I'm not going to say it splits. I don't know the explanation. They can give me it, but it's even hard for me to verbalize it. But we're not just here. We're on different levels here, different places. So the answer is yes.
Sometimes you'll ask somebody who is in tune with multiple dimensions, and they'll be able to tell you present, past, future, because they're there, they see it. The trick is that they can recall it, they can see it. But my question for you is, if you live multiple dimensions at the same time, do they ever stop being? So,
yeah, they do.
In other words, I don't know about the word dying, but do not exist, because you can't destroy energy one way or the other.
You don't. They carry on, but not in the physicality that they were, say, here on Earth. That part of you can be somewhere else. It doesn't die, but it can go out of, let's say, this dimension. Because I have, without going, one day I'll tell the story of what happened to me when I was in hospital when all this started. And Aldo, my guide at that time, I had no idea what happened to me, but I actually switched, because they're parallel lives. And I won't go into it now. One day I'll do a show on it, how I knew that and how I got the validation that had happened to me, because they had no record in the hospital that I was even there. So that's a very, very interesting topic. It's a very difficult topic to understand, but I'd be glad to talk more, but we'll maybe dedicate a show to that. because it is interesting. We are in different places.
And if you are focusing on the physicality of it, is it harder to understand the spirituality of it? In other words, I think the question that your mom asked is really interesting, because is she looking at it from the physique, or is she looking at it from a multi-dimensional deal? When you sit and you daydream, I was told that you're looking at multiple other dimensions, and you don't realize that you're doing it. I think this just happened to
Well,
JJ.
you actually daydream, and if you want to, all this is imagination. It's easy. Let's try and simplify it a little bit. All that we are doing comes from a thought, which a thought is imagination. So this happens wherever we are, because we're manifesting everything that we're doing. I'm manifesting, and I truly believe I absolutely manifest 3 years ago and come to this studio. I might not have been aware of it, but what they're telling me is I was aware of it in another aspect of myself. So basically, I didn't know where I was coming because I wasn't aware of that aspect of me, but it led me here. And that's happened, and it explains a few things in my life where I've shown up not knowing, and Mindy was a very good example of that. My friend going to where she worked as a hairdresser, who is now my best friend. I believe that we do know it, we just don't know that we know it. So it all comes and stems from imagination, and that applies to even understanding this. If you imagine that you can be somewhere else and believe it, belief is very important.
But are you imagining it, or are you living it?
Well, in physicality, yes, we're living it, but we're also somewhere else, because when you pass from the whole thing here, you're somewhere else. But we do this, and Aldo explained it to me, but I'm understanding much more now than when he explained maybe 10, 12 years ago, because I've got deeper into my spirituality. But it depends where you are on your spirituality. If I just suddenly met someone who didn't understand any of this, and I said, you're somewhere else, it would freak them out. But the more understanding that you have, the more it becomes more normal to maybe beginning, you may not understand it, but to accept it. And that's what we're doing here. We're here to learn. So every aspect of what we're doing here, good or bad, negative or positive, is leading us to somewhere else. That's what they're telling me.
I'm more confident than ever that I'm going to be able to experience some of the things that you've experienced. And you've been teaching me what needs to happen and the time frame. And so I'm very confident that eventually I'm going to get there.
Well, then, the answer to that, Steve, and as with anyone, it's up to us. We have free will. We have all the tools, if you want to say. Everyone here, everybody listening has all the tools. And we can do it if you believe it. During the process, which is in my book, my girlfriend, her name was Dawn, who was my best friend. Still a very good friend. I just don't see her very often now because she moved. But every aspect of what I was doing, she was coming along for the ride with me, so to speak, and was telling me. But she couldn't get it. I remember her telling me, I feel someone pulling at my sheet. You basically got to, which I know she did, and hopefully by now, so much, because we started our spiritual journey basically together. I love her very much. I haven't seen her for a while, but we are all able to do this. It's still up to us how we do it. You've got to believe it. You've got to work at it. This is not something that just happens. You have to put in the work to experience what you're going to do.
And as you know, the closest I've come was when we were on vacation, and we both experienced the same thing at the same time. It just didn't go any further than the beginnings of it, but I know what to look for now.
That's great. And that's the beginning of a journey. I didn't know anybody who told me anything about astral. I didn't know what had happened to me at all. And however, I was fortunate enough that the next day someone explained, I won't go into the whole thing because our viewers have heard it, and explained to me what had happened to me. I couldn't disbelieve it because nobody can come into a dream unless they've been there. So that's basically what happened to me.
I'm curious to find out, now you and Steve are celebrating your 3 years of marriage. When people live together, whether it's 3 minutes or 40 years, or 60 years, what happens to the dimensions?
What happens to the dimension?
Dimension. In other words,
dynamics of the relationship.
Dynamics, because I have mine, you have yours. We meet each other, but we're not married. There aren't deeper trends. Do they change what's going on in the other dimensions?
No, I think you can still have, let's call it, relationships with people where you're at and share what you can as a married couple too on spirituality. You can have deep friendships. They take many different forms. The only difference, and it doesn't have to be a marriage, it can be a partner, whoever is in your house with you, what you're sharing to a certain extent is vibrational energy because you're there together. So your energy is coming more intact with each other. So whereas a friend you can have, then they go about their way, and they're not, anything that enters where you are, you're sharing a vibrational energy.
But in this level? Not in the other level.
We're all sharing, no, because we're all sitting here now. I am on a higher vibrational energy because I couldn't do my show if I was not there. I wouldn't be hearing. But my energy is being submitted to everybody sitting here. We still have free will. I believe that we're all at this point on a higher vibration. Having said that, when you say a husband or wife or a partner, when you're together, it's still up to the other person. If they let's say they're always on a lower vibrational energy, that can attack the person that's on a higher vibration. That's why it's so important, especially for people that understand this, to keep on a higher vibrational energy wherever you go. Because, and Aldo used to do this, he would go into Publix or he'd go shopping. I wasn't quite there at that point. I'd say, stop telling everybody have a nice day, they don't know you. But he said, no, it doesn't matter because I'm giving them what I have. And that is so, so important. I understand it so much more now. That's why if I go lower, I feel completely not myself anymore because I'm on a higher vibration. Let's call it positive and negative a lot of the time today. So I, in a second, can tell the difference. We're all transmitting our energies right now. Does that make sense?
Do we change how we see things when we meet people? In other words, did Dawn change anything with you, frequency-wise?
Yes. If Dawn is an empath and I'm an empath, without even knowing what was happening, Dawn.
We're staying in Sally's cabin, not going anywhere.
But when I first walked in, I had never been in here. Dawn approached me. I was holding some paintings because someone had said bring some paintings in. You not only recognized me, you recognized my artwork.
But do you recognize her presently, or this is going back somewhere else?
But that never changed, because the moment Dawn and I will talk to each other, because she can raise her vibration, we're always happy, right? On a higher vibration.
You're always happy?
On a high, no, it doesn't, you know what? It doesn't always have to be happiness. It's you've raised your vibration. You can see more when you're on a higher vibration. You can see what that person might even be thinking, or that person is bringing you lower energy. Because once you stay there, it's best not to go with the lower vibration because you don't want to bring yourself down.
How do you know the difference between a dream and astral projecting? If you know you're someplace else, what's the difference?
Okay, that's a good question, but I do have the answer to that, the best that I can do this. When you have an astral out of your body, let's call it, I remember 20, 22 years from now, every detail of where I was. If you ask me sometimes, what did I dream last night? I don't have an idea. So it becomes far more clearer and stronger, even to the fact that I was offered one time something to eat, some fruit. I remember what it looked like. This was 20 years ago. Exactly. I know who I saw. I know where I went. I know the difference. That's why the other day when I came back, obviously I was spinning of some kind, but I remember every aspect of that. I especially remember my dog who had passed, who knew that, who sat on my lap that entire time.
Interesting.
Now, can I say, without knowing them, without it meaning something, I know JJ's spirit. Something about her, I don't know what it is. I don't understand what it is, but I've run across it before. Is this something that I've done in another dimension, in a past life? I mean, where is it coming from? Why is it so vivid?
Very interesting. very, because I feel the connection. We really haven't had too much opportunity to talk, but it didn't surprise me when you said that your mother, because it does run in families too, that it's like an energy that you, well, it's going back to how Dawn and I met, or even you, Freddie, you feel something. And now on the flip side of that, that other person that you meet, I'm not talking about anybody necessarily, but anybody that will bump into someone that's extremely negative and doesn't want any part of that, you will still feel that. But your reaction would be, I don't think that this, or they want to do something, maybe a business deal with you here. You don't feel happy about that. Trust your energy, because there's something within that person, we're not talking about anybody specific, obviously, that you're better off out of their energy. That's the word, actually. Better off out of an energy that is going to bring you down on any aspect of your life, actually.
It's funny because I wasn't...
You sense something good.
But I wasn't thinking good, better, and different. I was just wondering why it just feels different.
Well, you guys could have known each other from another lifetime.
But I'm not saying good or bad. Like you guys always say, people like to take your energies, and I don't believe in that. I believe more that there's good and there's bad in the world, at different dimensions, different this, different that. And you're never going to learn the good if you don't recognize the bad. I mean, that's in my world.
No, it's in my world too, because how often do I say out of negativity comes positivity too? People are in your life for a reason, even if it's for a minute. You sense something, which I do now that we're sitting here. I sense that there's a spiritual aspect of this that you can sense with somebody. They may not even be aware of it, but you can say, well, that person is beginning her journey or his journey. They may not even be aware of it, but when they're ready, and it happened to me because Aldo knew that a year before he met me, but the moment I was ready and had had my first out of body, he was right there the next day. It's not just me, it's with everybody that these things can happen.
So when you become more and more in tune with another person, like you became with Dawn and you were on the same vibrational energy, is that when you can really figure out that you might have been a part of each other's lives in past lives? And,
well, I think I can't say most people that we meet, but the majority of people that we're around, friends, family, or whatever it may be, is we've had previous lives with them, and we come back sometimes, what they call it karma, to settle karma. But it may, the interesting thing that I learned from this, it doesn't necessarily be one lifetime ago, it could be 10 lives ago. We're here to learn. So if you think about it, that we're here on a journey to learn, the people that we want in our lives are going to appear if they're incarnated with us, because we have things to work out with them, good and bad. And it's up to us, because we have free will, how we handle that. But when it becomes too much, you can probably break your contract. And in fact, I know you can. And just say, I'm had enough. There are other things that I can do. It's called a contract.
You can break your soul contract?
You can do, yes, but it doesn't mean you're not going to have to do it again later. No, you can't break it.
You're like, time out.
No. You can break it for this lifetime if you want, or the next lifetime. But we have free will. But it's not that we don't really want to break it, because we've come here to sort it out again and to learn. So you might say, I'm taking a rest from this. I'll do that in 4 lifetimes from now. Depends. And we have contracts with each other.
What about depression that leads to suicide? Is that the end of a contract?
Of the person's, yes. No, it's not the end of a contract. It's the end of maybe what drove them to the suicide, for instance, yes. But suicide's a touchy subject, because people don't necessarily always want to talk about it. But it's choice. That you go on and you're still going to have whatever drove you to suicide, or even depression, let's call it here. You're still going to, because we choose to. We could say, oh, that's over with. But when we're on the other side, we can choose to come back to sort it out in a different scenario. But we still need, because our choice is to sort that out, to jump us forward more on our journey to learn more.
Now, if I go to war and I get killed in war, that wasn't choice, or was it?
Well, it was. I hate to say these things because it's very controversial, but everything we do is our choice. But we're guided, but our free will takes over a lot of that too. So our free will is, well, we need to do this, and this is a destructive planet. There's no two ways about it. The planet itself is a newer planet, and we're going through a lot. I know it's time to break for a commercial, and we'll come back. It's a very interesting subject, though. Okay, I'll see you guys in a minute on the other side of this show.
A true story, Call Me Zena, is the telling of Sally Barnard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came into the U.S. in 1979. A mother of 2 and a grandmother of 4, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the 3rd dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest into art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed a paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she is able to astral a project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life and direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today, authorhouse.com and amazon.com.
Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Barnard, and you can find my book at authorhouse and amazon.com, or visit my art on my clothing in my boutique at artbysallybarnard.com. Now back to the show. Hi, welcome back to the show. Question time.
Question. Interesting. Well, here's one that we haven't talked about a lot in the past, but we used to. Jackson Davis from Georgia. I saw a UFO hovering above my house. My first question is, how do you know it's a UFO? Second, I rubbed my eyes, but it was still there. And third, I don't know what it was, but it wasn't from around here. Was this a dream or a vision?
Well, if he saw it, it wasn't a dream. He saw it, and they are
Does it
around.
sound like he knows that he saw it?
He sounds like he does, yes,
does?
because, yeah, he does, because he's questioning what it is, but he's saying he saw it without him actually here to ask me the questions on that. I believe he saw it. There are many now. They're really showing themselves all over the place right now. We need to get our act together, and they know that, and they're helping.
So you think they're coming to deliver a blow?
They're coming to help us. They're already here. It's just that we think we haven't had disclosure. We actually have had a little bit of disclosure, but it'll be I'm going to say, even on my show, within the next year, we're going to see a lot of different things. We're going to see more things or hear of more things, and people are going to believe it more. But they've got to do it very gradually, though.
What is the 5th dimension?
The 5th dimension is where, when you reach a certain level and you go to another, you can see more there. The 5th dimension is still here, actually. Nothing changes, but we've changed. So we can see things. We can't really get there until we've settled everything here. You can't go with a lot of anger, let's say, as an example. You have to get rid of a lot of, let's say, karma to be able to raise that vibration to the 5th dimension, which we're doing a shift right now. The world is going into a 5th dimension. It's happening already. We're just not aware. More and more people, just by asking questions like this, never did this 20 years ago. It was, going back even further, you'd be burned on a stake if you were talking this way. It's becoming much more acceptable. The whole world needs to, we're not all raising to that level, but a lot more people are. So it's a different, clearer understanding of things.
So you could raise yourself to the 5th dimension, but maybe I won't. But we can be sitting next to each other?
Well, actually, in a way, we're doing that now because you've raised your energy. We're just not there all the time. When you reach the 5th dimension, they're helping me out here. You're there all the time. Now, you have other things because we go higher to the 6th dimension, but you work through everything from basically a different energy, a different level. We're here. We'll finish the show and maybe not even mention what we're talking about. I'll say, bye, Dawn, I'll see you next week. Doesn't mean I'm not still there, but I can lower it because I'm around people with a lower vibration. Once you've reached the 5th, you're there. And then people from the 6th, so how it goes, people from the 6th can talk to the 5th.
Well, why do people of a lower vibration bring us down? Why do we not stay where I am with you, right? So I may go home and there may be like a phone call and that's going to bring me down. Why do I go there instead of staying with you?
Because, I love that question, because I say to myself, I'm not letting anything bring me down. I can do this, I can do that. And I truly mean it when I say it. How I feel is making me say, I need to stay in that where I am with people that believe and understand, and we can talk that way, because the feeling itself is so different once you reach that 5th dimension. There's not all the things that are mundane, even conversations, Dawn, and you know this. It's different when someone has reached that higher. I'm not knocking anything. We're all humans. I've been there, and I still am. But everything about us changes. I'm going to say deeper, but I'm not criticizing people that don't do this. But it's a deeper understanding that we get. Unless you experience it, you can't really. I don't like being in crowds. Why? You don't. We have a lot in common. I say you were my daughter from another life, because you can relate to what I'm saying. Now, it's up to us how we want to live our life here. If we want to continually, it's like doing the same thing over and over again. If you want to continue and you know better, doesn't mean we're better or worse. We've just reached a different level. And that level can't relate to the lower vibrational energy as much. And the less.
Do you like crowds? Do they
I
not
don't know if
bother
you're
you?
an empath.
They don't really I mean, it depends. If it's like super, I don't like super close. I don't like it. Like if I was at a music festival and we're all like, really tight, that's not good at all.
But I think also this, I can only talk for myself. I didn't like certain things as a child, but I didn't like loud noises. There were many things that I didn't like, but I really didn't understand why I didn't like it. And that's actually a good question, because the more you understand that, it's like more for you than if you continue doing it. Because if you don't know that you're doing it, I didn't know I didn't like crowds, I didn't like many things, but I didn't know the reason why. Now I know it. So am I going to put myself into something that's not going to agree with me right now? As I've learned over the years, if I do it, then I have to accept the consequences of it in where I am in my life. Because you have a whole nother life on a higher dimension that is wonderful, because you've experienced part of that. Is that making sense?
Yeah.
Because it's not necessarily me talking. And the guy that is my guide who says, is that making sense? I haven't heard from him for a while, but he's helping me out on this. He says,
so, sorry, do you
fine.
feel like you've unlocked a dimension when you say that you've fallen in love with art and stuff, doing art? You said you weren't autistic before, and then you went astral projected, and then
I got a message to help you out on that.
You got a
message.
message.
My first one, to go and get some paint and start to draw. I had never drawn a thing in my life.
Okay.
So this was obviously what I'd chosen. So they were helping me on my way. So I started to draw many different things, because I listened, I was ready. I obviously wasn't ready for many years of my life, because I never painted. I didn't know I could, so I unlocked something, yes, and we all do. And I listen to Shark Tank a lot, where people come up with ideas, entrepreneurs, and a lot of them say, I got that from a dream, the invention. Well, to me now, I understand that dream. They got a dream because that's their passion. Follow your passion. Yeah.
Right.
But there's so many aspects to this, and it can take lifetimes. But once you begin to open your journey onto a higher, let's say, dimension, when you see all the synchronicities that happen, everything about it, why would you not want to stay there? We're still in this life, and yes, we still have to be here, but you can live it on a higher vibrational energy. It's really, once you get to that point and you see it more and more, your whole being is wanting to be there, if that answers the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you say that I'm accessing or experiencing the 5th dimension in my present daily life?
I believe you are Freddie, absolutely. We're not all there all the time because we're still here. But you've had many, many things coming from the fifth dimension to you where you've been. You see more. Everything here, let's say there are, I can say there's 6 or 7 other spirits, even more, in this room. Can we see them? No, we just have to believe that someone said that, and maybe they're here. But once you reach that higher level, that's how I'm able to be talking. I'm being channeled to talk this because they're sitting next to me, and it's even hard for me to give you the answers. I'm pretty confident. It's not my ego, and I'm not egotistical with this, but I don't want to know any question because I know they'll give me the answer. So anything that I'm asked, I have to be in a higher dimension because I often say, well, Sally wouldn't have known that. That's why I call myself Zena. So I'm doing myself a disservice if I come out of that, So
you're saying that there are blockages or energies preventing one from accessing a higher dimension?
Yeah, was that someone wrote? Yeah, that's very true. Absolutely. But it's our choice to overcome those blockages. We talk to people, and you can jokingly say, if I said this, someone would lock me up or put me in somewhere. But we overcome those things, and the whole world is beginning to see, well, not the whole world, but aspects of this world is beginning to break through that, because there's a lot of people now that are beginning to understand the energy and the higher vibrations. We're in a mess here with wars, with all these things that go on. But you sometimes have to have that negativity to say, I've had enough of this. But we need a lot more people to feel that way for the world to change. And hopefully part of what I'm doing here is lifting people's vibration a little bit to save humanity right now, truthfully, each one of us. But it's not everybody's time, and that's okay too. But if my desire to do this is strong, I'm being helped. So I feel like, not obligated, because that's the wrong word, but I feel that I want my message, not because I want to become that famous, but if I pass that on, somebody else can pass that on. And that's how it's a ripple effect, as Alda used to say to me. One person believes it, they tell the next one, and if someone along that way interferes with that ripple, okay, go your way, that's fine, I don't care. I have to continue on my journey where I am to help the rest of the people that want to hear it.
Well, I got one then. Benjamin Taylor from Arizona writes, I felt a presence in my room at night. A lot of people feel that.
Right.
Okay. It wasn't threatening, just watching. I can't explain it, but it was definitely not human. What do you think it was?
Well, I'm going to say, and many people also would answer the same way, it was a form of a visitation from someone. So when we say it's not human, if somebody looks different to what we are, it doesn't mean to say that they can't communicate with us, because there are many different planets where they do come to visit us, and they can take different forms because that's how they are on their planet. He had a visitation from not being able to talk to him, but from what you say.
Would you say that could be a visitation from the fifth dimension to enhance intuition or psychic ability?
Well, yeah, is that what the question? I love that, because it carries on completely with what we were just talking about. Yes, because I had that with my guide who came here and showed himself to me, who knew me. He was on a higher vibrational energy. I was ready. The key to this is you have to be ready. I was ready without even knowing I was ready. But once I met Aldo, who was I could paint, which I got. I saw him and he told me things about my visitation, my dream. How could I deny that somebody else hadn't come here to help me? He got into my dream. He was there. I didn't know him.
But the funny thing is that unless you're looking for receiving the answer, you're not putting one and one together. So if you see that, you go about your business. And the next day, maybe the second part of that equation.
Beautiful explanation.
But you're not looking at it that way.
But the more that they will do this to you, the more they want to help you, the more you're going to say this is synchronicity, not coincidence. And not everyone is still ready, but they have an agreement. We have agreements, contracts, even with people that aren't here. They're helping us. They can't interfere with our life because we have free will, but they can help us understand and put things in our path. By putting a people, place, or thing in our path will maybe open our minds. If you're ready, they can show themselves. They say the teacher appears when you're ready. It's the same thing. But they're not going to show themselves necessarily to scare us. We have some aspect of ourselves wanting to know this. They could, but I don't completely know that because people can get scared. But normally we're ready. We just don't know we're ready.
Abigail White from Ohio. I heard a voice whisper my name in an empty room. It was soft but clear. I don't know who or what it was. It's like that voice in your head sometimes that you hear. But it scared her. Because what she wants to know is, hearing that, the significance, she thinks is coming from the fifth dimension in terms of personal growth and ascension. Ascension?
Yeah, ascension. We're ascending to the fifth dimension.
So she wants to know, is that what the voice was, whether or not it was the
well, the fact that she heard a voice in the first place is that she's already on a higher frequency to be able to hear the voice. Right. You're not going to hear it if you're on a third dimension.
I think she's afraid that she's gotten there?
Well, part of her wants to be there because she opened that opportunity to hear that voice, as with anybody that does. It's still up to us how we handle that. So if you're scared, they probably won't contact you again, because fear will stop people coming to, spirits coming. But if you open up a little, it just maybe to open up a little bit, that there is more from what we see here. Because as soon as you raise that vibration, you will have things happening to you that we consider is not normal, but it is.
So we were talking the other night about celebrities that have used their celebrity to voice the spirituality, like John Lennon with Imagine, more recently John Mayer, Waiting for the World to Change. Are these messages being sent by celebrities in the hopes that we will listen to them and raise ourselves?
Yes, because they've come here to help. And as you know, that I have met Uri Geller, who's friendly, and he openly, I would never say something if I thought they hadn't put it out in public, but he says he was friendly with Michael Jackson. He was friendly with John Lennon too, I believe he knew. These people recognize one another, and a lot of them become celebrities for that reason. That's the best way to answer that. They become. Now, John Lennon, he wrote Imagine. If you listen to Imagine and some of the things that he put in there, he was on a spiritual level that was more advanced than a lot of the people, and a lot of people have come in to do that. There are many ways. There are people, Aldo would never have wanted to do it on a level like that. He chose to do this on a one-to-one, and I was the beneficiary because I had a contract with him. He'd looked for me his entire life and found me many later years in life. So there's different ways to do it. A celebrity has more opportunity to get, as I have on my show here. I might be just 5 or 6 people listening, right? But I'm talking to them who can talk to someone else. So they chose celebrity fame. It's not necessarily an ego thing. I don't believe that John Lennon, I don't know, I didn't know him, but he let it out. He was able to put it in music, which Imagine is a big hit, right?
Okay, taking that a step further, do you think people like John Lennon and others that have given us messages, do you think those messages were put in their head by a higher power? No,
they came in with that in mind. We discuss our life, so to speak, before we come in here. So let's say we're sitting, John Lennon might appear in a minute, but we're sitting talking to people there. They'll say, this is the message, I'm going to do it through music. This is hypothetical because I don't know his path, but we saw that he did it through music. I'm going to come in, I'm going to be a celebrity, it's not coincidence, and I'm going to put this in my music somewhere so that it might just open them up a little bit to understand more. I didn't, when I first heard Imagine, I really didn't listen to the words like I do today. What he writes in that particular, just let's use that as an example, is amazing. Once you see this and you open your eyes to the spirituality, you see how he was trying to show you what in writing, but only the people that are meant to receive that or are ready to see that are even going to see that in a song. So he would continue, and then I could say, well, listen to some of his songs. Listen deeply. If you're ready, you will see it. Not everyone's going to.
I guess there's different degrees of being ready and what you're ready
right
to see. But I always go back to the same story. You were ready. Ready. Aldo comes into your life. But there's a reason that he found you. Not everyone has a walking guide, an earthly guide in physicality. We may all have spiritual guides.
I just got the answer in my head why I was ready. Because he used to say to me, we have to be ready even on the other side to open up to the spirituality here. He said to me that I had left what I knew. He said that you knew all this in another lifetime, which I know that I was in with him. I hadn't had enough of it for a few lifetimes, so it was dormant. So I had that agreement, sure, bring it back to me here in this life, which he did. Now I had 2 other lifetimes, as far as I know, without him being there to do that. He knew in this lifetime we had that soul contract, and he was living in Peru and I was here, but he knew most of his life that he wanted to meet me again. He knew where I was because he was on a much higher plane. The more it sounds crazy, and in the beginning with me it sounded crazy, but the more that you turn your mind into understanding this and believing it, all these things, even being abducted, oh my God, was I abducted? How did I come out with that? But today, you know how many people have been abducted or are missing? It becomes more of a norm than abnormal. And that's what we're trying to do, because what we think is not normal is actually normal. It's going on in other planets all over the place. And the more we open up to this, because I believe, and I heard this the other day, everybody here came to be here at this time to have disclosure, to understand that there's so much more. We chose to be here. It may not seem like that because our planet is in a big mess. But deep down, somewhere in our consciousness or subconsciousness, everyone here is not here by mistake. They're here for a reason.
But then you think Steve's birthday is the same day of Aldo's passing.
Synchronicity
right?
shows up.
Synchronicity, so clearly there's a reason that Steve was brought back into your life. And the only way Aldo could do it was through numbers, right? It had to be a message that you would understand.
Because that's the key, that it would relate to that. Suddenly, oh, so you had the same birthday and he died. It doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, of course it matters, but we don't see the significance of it. But once you accept the synchronicity and it's not coincidence, as you're moving from the 3rd to the 5th dimension, you're going to see much more synchronicity. That shows you that you're on your journey. Because I have unexplainable things to people that have happened. You've seen it, Steve. Now, I could tell 10 people in a room, if they're not ready, they won't even listen to what I'm saying. But that's not my job. My job is to talk to people, because that one person, say, sitting there, would be able to, as you are sitting here right now, would maybe relate to it. I've done what I meant to do in those few hours that I'm talking, and that will open the door to somebody else. But and I've done this, waste my time. If someone, doesn't matter to me anymore. They don't want to understand that. That's not my journey. My journey is to talk to the ones that do. And that's not rudeness, that's nothing. It's that we're here on a mission, basically.
And when you see a past life, like you're sitting here talking, will you get a glimpse in your mind or see something of a past life to give you validation on what you're saying?
You see something, Dawn. It could be anything. It could be someone's birth date. It could be something that I have it all the time with me, with Aldo. I'll turn my TV on and I'll ask him a question and he answers it through the internet or on the television, which he was able to do here, and give me messages. Why in the world would he not be doing it there? Now, if I had not opened to this, it wouldn't mean anything to me. But because I'm aware of that, I realize that's not coincidence. That's synchronicity, and they're working with you. I'm doing my job here. What I've chosen, it's up to me to choose it, as any one of us. But I'm following what I had planned that I wanted to do. I wanted to open up in this lifetime.
Most of us have had deja vu experiences, but I don't think too many people, in trying to figure out what that deja vu meant to them or when it was from, realize that it might have been from lifetimes ago.
Actually, deja vu is something that we could actually, even going back to your original question, part of our soul, where we are, may have had that, because you sometimes, in this particular, this is complicated, but even in this particular lifetime, it could be something that we had done somewhere else. So we kind of even sometimes carrying it through to you even know what the sentence is going to be. So this is very familiar. It could have happened somewhere else, not necessarily, although previous lifetimes are all still going on. That's another story too. But they're all going on now because we have nothing but our now. Past, present, and future is going on at the same time. So sometimes it breaks through. A deja vu can be a breakthrough. That's the best way to put it, really.
I think a lot of people have that.
A lot. Well, we all do, because we're all able to do this. We just don't understand it, and we don't pursue trying to understand it. That's where we are on our journey. We're all individuals. Many people have. There are a lot of people that do, people that tune into the show. I'm sure many of the viewers listening understand where we're coming from.
Now, if JJ asks you, do you see her guide? She would have to ask you.
No, I could see it or something. Yeah, we all have guides.
Yeah.
So we can have 4, 5, 10, I don't know, it depends. But we're never alone. So if you know, it could be a personal thing. And as I used to say, even with Aldo, as much as he knew so much, his anonymity of what he didn't, you know, I'm sure he might have come to the show here because I was here, but he spread it differently.
Because he was here for you.
He was here for me. He would be here, yes. But we all have an Aldo. It's just how we're ready to maybe see them or not. Not him, he's not with everybody, but we have
Find your Aldo.
Yeah. Find your Aldo.
You know, getting to Steve's point, sometimes truth hides in plain sight. And sometimes you have to understand that you don't need to understand. You just have to accept it, and then it will explain itself to you as we go along. So it's an interesting concept, because I think that people are more concerned about understanding things that we're not meant to understand. I think that we have to sort of follow what we believe in. You know, not every marriage gets to last 60 years, but there was a reason for it. And you have to understand it. You know, the bitterness and all that goes with it at the end has nothing to do with the reason that that's why I asked you about marriages and souls.
Well, because very few people will meet as a child in their childhood and stay together. Well, I'm not saying that. People do. They get married and they live a lifetime together. But we change as we go along too. Mm-hmm. So as we grow, let's use a friendship, a marriage, or whatever it is, I'm not going to say you outgrow that person, but your belief system doesn't comply, with each other. That doesn't mean to say that you hate each other or whatever. It's just that you go your separate paths. But you go your separate paths because we're learning here. And if one particular path is keeping you stagnant, so to speak, and you're ready to do more, you're going to find that maybe, it's not necessarily a relationship, but let's say with other people that you meet, they will come into your life to bring you more on that particular journey. It's not, in a relationship you notice it more because you're together much more, but if you go along your path and you go out, as I came in here, look at the people I've met that have been helped me on my journey, being here actually. The show itself has helped me on my journey. But you notice it more in a relationship. Yes, I'm sorry, Steve. Oh, I have 2 minutes. I thought you had a question. Okay, yeah, that was a good question. And we can continue the shows where we leave off right now. That's kind of interesting thing to do.
It is. And you shouldn't worry about not understanding what it is you see or hear, even if it goes boo in the night.
It's somewhere in your subconscious.
Well, it's there. You just got to find it. Sometimes a singer. Why is it that Darryl Strawberry can hit a 500-mile-an-hour fastball and other humans can't? Why is it that somebody can sing a note and another human can't? Why is it that somebody can hear something or see something when another human can't? But we're supposed to be all from the same cloth. So obviously, there's a difference.
And that's a good way to end the show, because we are all tied together. They call it, we are all one, okay? That's what I heard at the end of my thing. So we're just on different paths of being that one. Exactly. We're all living a situation that if you want to put it all, let's call it God's source or whatever you want, is experiencing. But we're all at different levels. We're all tied together. We're all here together as one. But we're all on a separate, let's say, thread. And it goes different ways. That was a good way to end the show. See you guys next. Oh, I won't be here next week.
Happy anniversary. Happy 3 years. Enjoy your cruise. Enjoy your 3-year anniversary cruise.
Send us pictures and videos.
Will do.
And
from my little cabin that I need. I'm not venturing out. I will venture out. I will. I'll prove it. I'll show you pictures. There are people on the ship.
She's going to prove me she's going on the cruise.
I'll show you people.
I'll have to adjust the color to take the green out of her face.
Yeah. It should be fun.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you. Tune in next week.
You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Barnard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you can always seek me out for resources by visiting artbysallybarnard.com. Join us next week, Monday.